Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Art 196, Introduction to Designing to Web Design, the spring semester 2022. To start, I think there was an issue, Julie, you had with your website. Let's go ahead and start with that. Because some of the rest of you may be having difficulty with this lesson as well. It's really easy to get goofed up. This is how it's supposed to look, right? So if I were to look at this under live view, not split view, and I go ahead and I shrink it down to a small screen. It switches to a 2-column, and then for a small screen, 1 column, and then a really small screen where we created the media query, it resizes once again. So everything is supposed to fit nice and tidy into this little box. And if it isn't, then this is probably what happened, or one of the things that can go wrong. If you look here around line, I have this in split view. If you have this around, look around line 44, 45, you probably have 2 closing div tags here. And let me show you what happens that if I take the last div tag down at the bottom, which is the one for the container. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's just before, it's right here. Notice how I have 2 closing tags here for the div tag. Well, I'm going to take the last one, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to go back up to around line 45. Where are we? There we go. Right after the closing tag for the navigation bar. And then there's another div that defines the nav bar in here. So I'm going to click right here, 45, and I'm going to hit paste and watch what happens. Notice how everything else now, the header, the main row with the asides and the article, as well as the footer, now all lie outside of that main container. Okay, and they stretch way, way beyond what you want them to do. So I'm going to try to stretch this out a little bit. You can see a little bit better. Notice how, Julie, in your case, what happened here is that these reside outside of that container. Okay, so they go way beyond the nav bar here. So to fix that, again, what you need to do, and I'm guessing about the line number, again, I think it's around 45. You should see these 2 closing div tags. I'm going to take the second one because the first one is the div or container that contains the navigation bar. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then just before after the closing tag of the footer, there should be a closing div tag there, because the div is a container that holds the footer. And then within the footer is just another div, again, another container. It's a series of nested containers is what all of this is. So I'll go ahead and I'll click right here. I'm going to put it on line 77. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste. Notice that the little on 84, I had an error message there in the red. And now when I click, come on. There you go. Just click back in here, and now it's fixed. So does that make sense to you now, Julie? Has anyone else had any issues that we can address before we go on to today? May be a relatively short day. I just wanted to show you how to publish this page. Yeah, it's easy, but it isn't when you're, because I kind of guessed that that's what it was. And, you know, when I looked at it yesterday, I kind of fixed it and it was easy, but sometimes it's difficult to tell which closing tag and which opening tag you're supposed to copy and paste and get rid of, or, you know, put it in the right place. Yeah. So the only word of advice that I have for all of you is what I do myself, is that constantly test. And at some point, if it breaks, then you know that you've done something like wrong like that. And that should have appeared right away when you were doing the header that it extended beyond. And then you'll know, okay, I think, you know, it will be easier to troubleshoot. But because it was consistent and all of it lied outside of that container, I figured that that's what was going on. Okay. So now that I fixed this, and the name of this, what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that I say save all. Now, what I want all of you to do in order for this to publish correctly is just to let you know that the first page that loads in your website, the file name has to be index.html. So what I've done here is, oh shoot, I got to make sure that I go back. Let me go back again. I was making adjustments the other day, and I got to make sure that this is fixed. There we go. Okay, so let me save this again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my layout. I think this is the finished one. We'll see in a minute. And when I close this like so, no, that's not the finished one. So I'm going to close that. And I'm going to open this one. And this was my working file the other day. So whatever you've named your file, yeah, and this is working fine. So make sure that it works on a medium and large screen. You know, test it ahead of time. Also, make sure that it works on a small screen and then it works on a really tiny screen. The last thing that you probably should do, just as a final test, is to go to File. And then what you want to do is under Real-Time Preview. Let's go ahead and preview this in Safari. Okay. Come on. Safari opening up. Where'd Safari go? There we go. Okay. Hopefully this previews it correctly. I thought I had Safari open, but I didn't. Okay, let me try that again. If not, I'll use Firefox since I already had that open. File, real-time preview. I'll try Safari. Well, okay, something has gone haywire here. So I'm going to take instead, move this up, and I'm going to bring down the my Firefox one. So let's see if it previews in here real quick. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Real-Time Preview, and let's try Firefox. And if you use Google Chrome, then that's okay too. And that's not good. So same thing that's happening here. Yeah, it's supposed to be device preview. And let me go ahead and bring up Safari back up, see if it's fixed it. No, so something that went haywire. So I can't use that as a test right now. When it's working properly, you get to actually preview it in a browser, and that's what it should do. Okay, so why it's doing that, I do not know. So what you need to do next, though, is in order for this to load properly, when you put in your URL, it needs to be, the file name needs to be index.html. When we preview, what if we only the font shows up? Only the font? What do you mean only the font shows up? There aren't any images? Okay, then this is what you need to do. You need to double check to make sure that you have the right root folder selected. That's another thing that you need to cross-check. So to do that, remember I said, when we start a lesson, you need to go to Site, Manage Sites. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the site that I'm using for this semester, double click, and where it says local site folder, this should be linked to lesson 7. If it's not, then it's not pulling it. It's looking for, but it's not finding the right images. So I click here. Here's, there we go. There's lesson 7, but I'm going to go back just to be sure. And I'm going to go back to the Dreamweaver, all of the Dreamweaver lessons. And I'm going to make sure that I select under name here, lesson 7. So with that lesson selected, that will become my root folder. Okay. Then in addition to that, let me go back again. Under advanced settings, I want to make sure under local info at the very top, I have the default image folder that lies within lesson 7. So I'm going to click again here. And things are getting sluggish again. I don't know why. And again, I'm going to go back to lesson 7 up here to make sure that it's selected. And then I want to make sure that the image folder contained inside lesson 7 is selected. And I'm going to go ahead and click choose. Save. And then done. And then you may have to test it again. So I've got that saved. These were my working files over here. But when you're done with that, to leave those, also save again as index.html. And also, once that's saved, make sure that you say save all. Because the Bootstrap CSS that may have been overridden or the grain style CSS may not have been updated. So that will result in other issues if that occurs. Okay, so once those are, you've got that working and the preview is working, that's great. The preview, if you have something in the preview, and why, I don't know. I'm going to try one more time and see if I can get it to work here. So I'm using Safari here. And I'm going to go ahead and go to File. Try again. Oh, come on. And I want to real-time preview. And I'm going to try Safari and see what happens. No, it's doesn't like it at the moment. And it's doing that with both of them. So there's something else that's going haywire. So the next step then, since that isn't working, and we'll find out, we're going to go ahead and publish it anyway and see if it works. So what you need to do is, if you haven't already, what you need to do is you need to create an account. Make sure I'm right. Oh, come on. Let me go back again. You have to make sure you have created an account with infinityfree.net. So I'm looking up here. I had it all set and ready to go. And I think this is it. So I'm going to close this. And here it is. Okay. So when you go to infinityfree.net, not .com, okay, I'm going to go to the home. There we go. This is what it should look like. No. Okay, let me just type in here and get another one, because I have both of them, unfortunately, at the same place. But you need to get an account with infinityfree.net. So I'm going to go ahead and click and add a new tab here and just put infinityfree.net. And this is what it should look like. Go ahead and sign up here. And once you've signed up and you put in a name for your domain and it's accepted it, then you're set to go. Then what you can do is you can go click here where it says go to client area. And what I will do is I'm going to come back to the one that I have over here. And let me go back one more time. This is what it should look like. And you'll see that I have two that are set up right now. Okay, I have two websites, two free websites that are set up with them. And once you see, you will only have one at this time. And after we do the Mobilize website, you'll have two. So what you'll do next is you're going to go to manage. And this is what you should see. You can go to your control panel. I want to go to file manager. This will be the easiest. We can also use FTP and upload files directly from Dreamweaver, but I find it easier to use their cPanel and use the file manager here. So once I click here where it says file manager, see what I get. You see this. You're going to see a folder that says htdocs, and then you're going to see three files that say htaccess, override, and do not upload files here. It's telling you, do not put your files here. They belong inside the htdocs. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to select open. And you can see that I have already uploaded the files for my website. And what you need to do down at the bottom here is where it says upload files and upload folders. So what you're going to do is where you have your files saved, you're going to go, for example, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click here. And if I say upload file, okay, it's going to take me hopefully to my desktop. Okay, and where I want to go is I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go to Art 196, fall 2021. Okay. No, that's not it. Okay, I'm sorry. What am I saying here? I'm not thinking here. I have to go to the Dreamweaver files that I have saved. So let's find that. That goes to, come on. Here they are. So now what I want to do is I'll go inside that lesson folder, right? I don't want lesson 6. I want lesson 7. And now what you want to do is I'm going to close each of these folders. And you'll notice that I have the CSS folder, the fonts folder, the green styles. Now, also I had created a separate one too. And if you're not sure which one to do, then upload them both. But when you're ready to upload a folder, make sure that you use the folder setting. And when you upload an individual file, select the individual file. And it will upload it in a few, like so, and that should be just fine. It will replace. Notice that it says upload and replace. Yes, no, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I know that mine works at the moment. And I'm not going to run the risk of messing this up again. So make sure that you upload the CSS folder, the fonts folder, the image folder, images folder, the JavaScript folder, your green styles CSS file, your index.html, and don't worry about the index 2. That's the one that they created for you as a placeholder. That should already be there. Once they're there, we can always go back. I can go back again here. And I'll go back again. Let's go back here. And I can scroll down. And then this is the true test, is where it says domains and subdomains, where it says right here, art196, fall 2021, freecluster.eu. When I click on there, it should open up my page in the browser, and it does, it works. I mean, I had to make sure that this was preset to make sure that everything works for you. This is how it should work. Now, if there's anything that goes wrong with it, that means, you know, that again, if you're only seeing text and you're not seeing the images, if the nav bar is missing, that again, you're only seeing individual links, then that means that there's a disconnect. There's a broken link between the files and the I think I lost connection for some reason. We're okay. 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 If everything seems to be good, then we are set. That's what I wanted to show you today. That's it. Took less than a half an hour. And let me go back and let's try again. Let me, you know, why not? We have plenty of time. I want to see if it loads now in the browser. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Real-Time Preview and I'm going to select, let's try Firefox. What the heck? It should pop up right away. If it's not, I don't have an explanation right now. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, but you can see that it shows that it should show the preview of the index.html. And that's usually a surefire way of testing to make sure that everything is good before you actually publish it. But it's not working for me this morning. So I don't know, what to tell you about that. I know that that happens from time to time. I don't know if that's a glitch with Dreamweaver or me. It's hard to say. But, once it's published and it does look correct, also shrink your screen down to make sure that, again, everything is working correctly. Okay. Do I have any questions from you guys? I lost, once you're done with them. That's twice that's happened. Again, I lost connection. Yeah, you only upload. Yeah, I lost the connection again. Yes, you're doing lessons 1 through 7, but you only upload 7. I'm assuming that if you correctly publish lesson 7, that you have done lessons 1 through 6. It's an assumption on my part, but if you're really good and you know what you're doing, you could probably jump, skip lessons 1 through 6 and go directly to 7 and publish it and you're done. But more often than not, people will slip up. And I notice it more often than not at the very end when you're required to create a website in Dreamweaver, that this is, each of these lessons kind of builds up to, a kind of a crescendo or a climax, as it were. And yes, you just, once it's published correctly and it's working for you, then all you have to do is email me the link and make sure that in the subject, put your name or 196 and put lesson 7. So I know what it's about and who it's from and what class it's from. Okay. What else? Yeah, I'm having, maybe that's why my page isn't previewing correctly, because I'm trying to, I'm broadcasting with all of you, and that might be an impediment to that. And on Thursday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce MobiRise, which will be the next, since most of you have done Wix, that will be the next step. Yeah, you just send me the link. I don't have anything else. That was it. It went pretty smoothly today, but there were some glitches. And I think, again, why I wasn't able to preview, now that I think about it, in a browser is because I'm publishing, on a Zoom meeting with all of you. Has it worked for the rest of you? Have some of you tried that? To preview it in a browser, and is it working for you? Yeah, okay. So if it works in the preview, then there's a good chance that it will work for you when you publish it. But again, test it when it's published. Don't assume that it works. Click and go to the URL and check it out. And then if it's working well, then just email me the link and you're done. The next time you will do that is after we complete lesson 11. If you want to wait until lesson 12, you can. But lesson 11 is the next critical stage in our textbook. And once that's successfully completed, then you will publish that as well. Because in lesson 8, what we will be doing is we will be creating a template upon which the pages in 9 and 10 are created. And then in lesson 9, that will be one of the longest lessons that we do, in addition to lesson 7, that it shows us different ways of adding content. Lesson 10 really kind of goes back to what we had done the first week of class, talking about different file formats that are used for the web, the JPEG, GIF, and PNG. So it'll be sort of a review that we will go over very quickly. And then in lesson 11, why that is important is that what we will be doing is we'll be actually working with the nav bar again, and we will be creating links to each of the pages that we have created in lesson 9. And then when you publish, lesson 11, when you click on each of these links, it will go to a separate page. Okay. Well, before my Zoom meeting crashes again, let me know if everything is working for you. Yeah. Okay. Line 62. It might be easier. Hold on. Julie, your insert quotation is also lies outside of the container. Hold on here. Let me move this. Well, what you can do is, this is what I would do if it lies outside of it, is I would select the opening and closing tag for the block quote. So, I don't know where it is on your page, but if I click anywhere in here, and let me click here. So if I click in here, anywhere inside the block quote, and then I use my tag selector down here, and I select block quote, in the code, everything should be selected from the opening tag to the closing tag of the block quote. Take that and select Command X or Control X, and then go back and find the aside, which should be inside the container. And it will be after, right after the opening tag of the aside, and paste it in there and see if it works. It's just a series, all of these are, HTML. It's just, it sounds simple, and it is basically, but it's a series of containers, one within another, within another, within another, like a Russian doll. Is that working for you now, Julie? In that case, what I can do is for the rest of you, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say goodbye, but I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to turn off the recording. And once the recording is off, then I can promote you to panelist or something like that. And you can share your screen if you want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye, but I'm not going anywhere. And I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm going to pause the recording.